Good morning, English 9. It's Mrs. Sopiarz-Rianda. I hope you guys had a fantastic weekend. This week we are continuing our study of review. We are working on session 2. And session 2 is due by Sunday, May 4th before midnight. So click on that folder. Click on the session plan. And right here you'll find this lovely video that you're watching right now. And here is our list of assignments as well as our weekly suggested schedule. So today what you should do is watch this weekly update video and review all the materials in the session. Tomorrow, be sure to review and submit your varying perspectives assignment and then choose a mentor text to guide your writing for the rest of this unit. On Wednesday, post to the discussion, and then begin your write like. Also on Thursday, you should choose your primary source for your review. So your primary source is what you will be writing your review about. Book, movie, performance, that could be a play, a concert, a video game, or a television show series. Then on Thursday, complete and submit that write like, post to the discussion again, and then on Friday, post to discussion one last time. And like always, click Next in the upper right-hand corner to navigate through the session. So in this in this session, we're going to continue our work on your final project of this unit, and that is the review. So our goal for this session is to gain some more understanding of the underlying structure of a well-written review, as well as selecting the primary source of your review. Again, book, movie, performance, television show, or video game. And here are all of the essential questions that are guiding our study this week. Click Next in the upper right-hand corner. And last week, we worked together in that Google Doc in creating a best guess or inquiry about what a review is. We did a sometimes, always, never Google Doc. Be sure that you go back and review all of the different elements of that class definition, okay? So last week we started exploring that, and so what we learned is that a review is a shorter piece of writing with two purposes, really: to summarize an event and to also defend an opinion about that event. So these are all the elements of a good review. It offers a judgment or an opinion with clear, concise details. It explains strengths and limitations of both the claim and the counterclaim. So it not only gives that great evidence and details to support your opinion or your judgment, but it also gives the other point of view. It gives the counterclaim to your claim. And then it also gives advice to the reader about the event or subject. It enhances the argument through appeals to either emotion, logic, or establishment of credibility. And it uses vivid language to hook the reader. So reviews are a common form of writing, and they can be found almost everywhere. They're usually quick and useful pieces of information that help an audience make an informed decision. Another aspect of a review is to also consider who reads it. So you have to consider your audience. So for example, an art review can be very different for you compared to an artist. So we're going to be exploring looking at a review from a different perspective or a different lens by clicking Next. So as I mentioned, when you're reading and writing a review, it's not only important to consider the author's viewpoint, but also the audience, because you're going to have a lot of different people reading your review, and you have to keep that in mind. So depending on the perspective of the reader, the same review can be very, very different. So the perspective of a writer reading a book review would be most likely very different than an editor's perspective, because they're looking at it through two different lenses. So what you're going to do is you're going to do the same thing. So in this activity, you're going to be reading a movie review through three different lenses: your own, an actor's, and a producer or director. Remember, each of these different lenses, you're looking at it, you should be thinking about it in a different point of view. So first you're going to read what makes a film great, because as we are starting to think about our reviews, you first have to establish on before you form your opinion, you have to educate yourself on what makes a film great, what makes a theatrical performance good, what makes a television series good. So this is one way to do that, is by reading what makes a film great. Next, you're going to read the following movie review and then answer these questions in 3 to 4 complete and thoughtful sentences, and then you're going to submit it on the next page. So these 4 questions here, 3 questions right here. Your reaction, you're going to be reading the review and giving your reaction from yourself, and then pretending you're an actor, you're going to give your reaction about the above movie review, and then pretending you're a movie director or producer, you're going to give your reaction to the review. And submit the answers to those questions here in varying perspectives. Next, you're going to be, now that you've got a pretty good idea of what makes a quality review, below are the review examples from sessions 1 and 2. So before you begin writing your own review next week, you're going to select your touch tone text. And this is basically going to help and guide your writing for the rest of the unit. You can always go back to this, that one that you can literally touch, figuratively I guess, touchstone, to help guide you with your organization and your writing. So in your discussion, I want you to answer both of these questions in complete and thoughtful sentences. Why is your touchstone review effective? You're going to explain the organization and or structure of your review in detail. And then number 2, part of an effective review is including the counterclaims to your argument, like we talked about what makes a good review. A counterclaim acknowledges the claims and evidence that do not align with your claims or judgment. Identify at least one counterclaim from your touchstone text. Does it make the review appear more or less credible, and why? Okay, and then as always, respond to at least 2 classmates in the discussion. Finally, now that you have your touchstone text, it's time to think about your primary source for which you'll be writing your review. Movie, performance, remember that could be concert, play, ballet, book, video game, or television. You must have watched or attended or read your primary source. You can't give your opinion on it if you haven't experienced it yourself, right? So once you decide on your primary source, you'll develop your skills. You're going to be developing your skills as a writer with write likes. And this is a technique that you select well-written sections of an author's work from your touchstone, and you try to imitate the style and structure of the passage. And you're going to be doing that with this document right here. So you're going to open and save it and complete a minimum of 5 write likes using your touchstone text as a model. And then you're going to submit it here on the next page. And then you are done with the session. Next week, we're going to continue our close study of reviews and then begin the actual writing process of your own review. If you have any questions this week, as always, please contact me. I'm happy to help. Thanks.